We've just arrived here in Niagara Falls. We are walking to our Airbnb from the bus station. It's definitely an interesting looking town. It's very old. Buildings are super old here, right?
Yeah,
like
the
what?
houses look really old. Look
What?
like they're 100 years old.
You don't think they're from the late 18th century? It might even be older. It might even be hundreds of years old.
Enter the apartment, go to the side door on the left-hand side of the house. It's really nice. It's gonna be a nice place for us to relax.
Yeah. Oh, there's the bedroom, bathroom, ensuite, and a kitchen. Oh, we got a full stove. We got everything we need. We're just in downtown Niagara right now. It's definitely interesting. It's nothing like I've ever seen before. There was a Halloween store back there, and it's always got some weird things with sounds illuminating out of it. Hey.
Yeah, it's also part of a haunted house that's always open. And one thing that was weird was that when we got off the bus and started walking around this town, Love Shack by the B-52s was playing on speakers in a city park.
Yeah, there's just speakers that were illuminating, like several of them across this park. So we heard it for like a couple of blocks anyways, maybe a block or two.
The strip is full of restaurants and casinos. And our house isn't too far, our Airbnb isn't too far from the strip. And we had to walk an hour and a half to the grocery store this morning because it's like a food desert here.
Yeah, we figure it's kind of a food desert for sure. I think a food desert is defined as somewhere where groceries or fresh produce, healthy things, are not available within a 3-kilometer radius. So we actually had to walk 4 kilometers today to get our healthy food, which was kind of a pain in the butt. And yeah, it was pissing rain this morning also too, quite a bit.
We got soaking wet. Brian's shoes are still wet.
Yeah, we just happened to be in Ontario's biggest rain event of the year. Lucky us.
But we've actually gotten really lucky, and we have only gotten stuck in the rain once, and it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, we've been surprised actually. We're used in Alberta. Usually when it gets rainy, a low pressure system moves in and it gets quite cold. But here, in fact, it's been plus 20, plus 25 and raining, and it's like, what? Like, that never happens in Alberta. It's actually even comfortable. It wasn't too bad at all. You could still be warm and be outside and be out walking around, which is not what we're used to. That's for sure.
Yeah, and to dry off, we're in the kitchen cooking some good food, and we made ourselves some healthy, good food that didn't cost too much money. Yeah,
we pretty much have to here because the choices of vegan restaurants seem to be very limited.
Yeah.
I mean, there is restaurants that will cater to us, but you know, there's nothing like all vegan. Like we've been for the last couple of days before we got to Niagara, we were in Toronto, and Toronto just has an unlimited amount of different vegan options there, fully vegan.
We'd have to stay there for at least a week to eat at all the vegan restaurants there.
Yeah.
So many options.
Totally. But Niagara is quite lacking. You can tell everything, we were talking about this yesterday, we can tell everything is just catered to make money. This is just all about making money. There is no community or no, like, I don't know, kind of vibe to it. Everything is geared at like making money. Like,
yeah, we noticed the divide between the rich and the poor here. There's very old, dilapidated houses. There's a lot of that in Niagara, and we can see a lot of poor people and even people sleeping on the streets, even in the rain. One guy was sleeping in the rain last night.
Yeah, it's terrible to see.
Obviously, there's a ton of money here in Niagara because there's these gorgeous amusement parks and hotels and really fancy restaurant chains.
Yeah.
So it's a divide between the rich and the poor.
None of this stuff really appeals to me, though, personally. Like, I love Vancouver. Vancouver has tons of like hikes within the city. You can just walk off the beaten path and feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, right in the middle of the city. Horseshoe Falls. You can see below there's all this foam looking crap on the river. And I was just thinking, you know, the Great Lakes are some of the most polluted freshwater bodies on Earth. There's Niagara Falls over there. What do you think those foam balls are?
It just looks like thick chunks of foam.
Yeah.
Like,
somebody in the comments will let us know. What is that? Is that nitrogen or what? Advertising Marineland. It sure looks like on the cover that these animals are actually enjoying this experience, but I don't imagine that they really do.
they don't get to live naturally and peacefully.
Oh, they got penguins here. Like, penguins don't live in Canada. I mean, they got like these guys are smiling and stuff. Almost. These guys are not having a good time. Like, I'm telling you that right now.
Well, what they don't show is the behind the scenes and why these animals do these performances for us. Not only do animals have to feed us and clothe us, they also have to entertain us, okay? Like, this is not an animal living naturally and peacefully.
No. So we just came from the Niagara Falls tourist center here. You know, this town definitely sells Marineland pretty hard, and it's pretty tough to see. We've seen some brochures and stuff there.
Yeah, even on the front of the local Niagara Falls attractions, there's like Marineland animals there.
Yeah.
Advertising Marineland.
Yeah, it's quite something. It's you know, I couldn't imagine just living my best life and then suddenly captured and forced every single day of your life to perform for some other species.
Yeah, and orcas are very social animals. Their family units stick together for a lifetime. The children, their bond with their child, like a mother's bond with her young, is lifelong. Even though the young orca does go off and become independent, they still function as a family to hunt and just to be social. The dialect in families, each family has their own dialect, and the calls are unmistakable to that family. So Kiska is the orca that has been living at Marineland, and she has been in captivity for more than 40 years. She was taken from the Icelandic Ocean over 40 years ago, and she has given birth to 5 orcas in her life in captivity. The last one did die, and I don't know what happened to the first 4, but I do know that orcas that give birth, baby orcas in captivity, have a low survival rate. So until 2011, Kiska was not in isolation as she is now. She lives in total social isolation, and her only contact is human contact. So that's not good enough. An orca is a social animal. An orca does not need human contact. An orca needs contact with other marine animals. So she acts like she's lonely, and there's documented evidence of her thrashing against the side of her tank, banging her head, like thrashing so hard that her skull hits the side of the concrete tank, and she floats lifeless, just floating around doing absolutely nothing day in and day out. So she doesn't perform anymore at SeaWorld. She's just held captive there. But according to SeaWorld, she is living out her golden years, doing what she wants.
Yeah, she loves it. All the pamphlets show happy whales and they're all smiling. You know, despite how touristy Niagara Falls is, if you look around today, it's definitely very dead, I think, for what this place is designed for.
Yeah.
And this definitely shows that COVID has decimated a place like this. And you know what? A place like this might even be kind of a relic from the past. Because who knows if we're ever going to have like travel back again. We're ever going to be able to go and do touristy stuff like this anymore. It might be sort of a thing of the past.
Yeah, we saw a guy who's made a living drawing people's faces. He's like a professional drawer, and he draws you as a cartoon. And his booth is completely empty. But he's got all kinds of examples of faces that he's drawn in the past.
Yeah. No, it's
He's probably used to having a crowd around him watching him draw. But because of COVID, there's not that many people here in Niagara.
oh yeah. COVID and the rain has really dampened probably most of the activity going on here tonight. It's definitely fairly dead out.
We finally ran out of luck with the rain, and we're walking home for 40 minutes in the rain.
Yeah. Still, like I said though, it is not too cold. It's not like we're freezing out here. It's still like plus 20 or more. Very
Yeah, it
surprising.
doesn't feel cold.
It is the next day already. We took the train this morning from Niagara Falls back to Toronto. We're just hanging out in Toronto for the evening and heading back to Calgary tomorrow.
Yeah, and we just rode our bicycles to a vegan Danish bakery, and we bought this cheesecake.
Oh, look at the cheesecake.
We
It's gonna
can't
be
wait to eat it.
fattening food, sugary food. But this is not a health channel, so
It certainly is not.
anyways, I think we're gonna call it for this video. So if you like our work, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section below, and share this video. And make sure you send your donations to the Lucky Ones Sanctuary. Have a good day, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.